Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Guy Atchley.
And I'm Stella Inger. Death threats, severe assaults on students and staff. A Tucson Unified High School with so many discipline issues that the school resource officer, an armed Tucson Police Sergeant, feared for his life.
Confidential sources and Tucson police documents paint an alarming picture at Palo Verde High School on the east side. The former Tucson Police Chief Roberto Villaseñor called it a school with no consequences. As TUSD is currently reworking its discipline policy, 9 on Your Side investigative reporter Valerie Cavazos digs deeper into the district's major changes in discipline practices that have led to actually new problems inside a school that has made great progress in other areas. And tonight, the district makes an important announcement.
It's an against-all-odds story that had many in the community cheering in 2014. Palo Verde High Magnet School made an incredible turnaround. Once a failing school, Palo Verde skyrocketed to an A in just a few years, and Principal Eric Brock, a former Titan, led the way.
Did you think that you were going to be able to do this, to turn it around?
You know, I don't think that any of us could say that we could think it. We had to know it. We believed it. We believed in the kids.
Word of Palo Verde's inspiring success and open enrollment led to an influx of new students. And then things took a turn for the worse. As TUSD changed to a more lenient discipline policy that included restorative practices to reduce suspensions and expulsions district-wide. But sources say some students took advantage of it. Take a look at the data of low-level incidents in 2014-15 reported in the incident detail reports. Tardies, 139. Leaving school grounds without permission, 92. Disruption, 125. Defiance or disrespect towards authority, 235. In the 2015-16 school year, those reported incidents dropped dramatically, 2 of them to 0. But TPD says the behavior continued. In a letter to Superintendent H.T. Sanchez, former Police Chief Roberto Villaseñor wrote, "Some students welcomed a school with no consequences. A group of students became empowered and acted with complete disregard towards school staff and the school resource officer." Villaseñor wrote, "We experienced numerous assaults of fellow students." Sources say after the school bell rang, students roamed the halls with no fear of tardy violations, and sometimes that led to bloody assaults. Police reports we obtained show a handful of students walked or ran into classrooms and punched students in the face. And a few bloody fights between students erupted during class as students watched. Villaseñor wrote, "The school continued to withhold or minimize discipline, which further fueled students' negative attitudes. And in one case, the violence spilled off campus." This massive fight at a nearby McDonald's, caught on cell phone last September. Documents show 10 students in all. Sources say even an off-duty U.S. Marshal was assaulted during the fight. And the violence continued the next day inside the school. Police reports show a massive fight on the first floor between classrooms with a crowd of about 50 students. The next day, police returned. Palo Verde was put on lockdown after reports of a teenager with a gun. A search ended with no weapon found. Assistant Superintendent Abel Morado told KGUN-9 then and again this week that the district was investigating what could be causing the issues.
We are not going to be put in a position where our schools are unsafe.
Did you know, though, it was escalating there? That behavior problems were starting to get to the point?
There was a time period where it was evident that there was some escalation, and we were seeing incidents on several days, and some of those involving different parties.
Isn't restorative practices built so that you can prevent that from happening?
Well, we were trying. We were addressing students that either we knew were involved or some of their friends may have been involved.
Then came the death threats. Rumors of a hit list surfaced, names that included the TPD school resource officer. Guns, assaults, death threats. The SRO feared for his life and alerted his superiors. But it wasn't just the students and the SRO in danger. Villaseñor wrote, "Students began directing their threats and disrespectful behavior towards school staff, and staff experienced numerous assaults. For example, TPD reports reveal a student delivered a powerful punch to a substitute teacher's kidney. A student running away from a classroom fight assaulted an assistant principal that left her left hand bruised and swollen. Under state law, hitting school staff is aggravated assault, but TPD reports show administrators told the SRO that staff did not wish to prosecute per TUSD policy. So while a half dozen criminal assaults took place, according to Tucson Police, the assaults on staff do not appear in the incident detail report. Sources say when the SRO addressed the alarming safety issues with the principal, Eric Brock, he said his hands were tied and the district doled out the discipline. Tucson Police had enough, and TPD brass met with the district administrator, Abel Murado. Sources say TPD brass told Murado that the progressive discipline and restorative practices were not working on some students. The district needed to hold students accountable and not sweep the severe discipline issues under the rug.
We were able to describe and discuss with them specifically some of the things that we were looking at, and basically comparing notes and looking at the discussion surrounding, what it is that we were trying to do regarding matters of discipline and what our approach to that was.
Then came the startling revelation, sources say. The district administrator said TUSD is behind the 8 ball. Sources say Murado expressed grave concern about the district hemorrhaging students. The district is in danger of becoming insolvent and needs to keep kids in class to maintain funding.
That was not the intent of that statement. The intent of that statement was to basically draw the context and look at the surrounding factors involving the issues that are current in this school district.
But sources tell me the intent was clear. It was about discipline and the need to reduce suspensions and expulsions. Tucson Police put the district on notice. Fix it, or the police department will pull the school resource officer from Palo Verde.
I don't recall that, but that doesn't mean it wasn't said. I just don't recall that.
Sources say that demand got the district's attention. Sources and documents show massive fights like this stopped, suspensions increased, and arrests declined. TUSD is currently working on a new discipline policy, a code of conduct it hoped to roll out at the start of this next school year.
But we felt that we needed more time. And we needed more time so that the training could take place ahead of unrolling something as complex and as important as a code of conduct.
Murado says the new discipline policy could be unveiled either in January or the start of next school year in 2017. So what does that mean for this upcoming school year? Murado says the district will continue to operate as it did last school year. Reporting, Valerie Cavazos, KGUN 9 on your side.